Project on Government Oversight, or POGO, is a nonpartisan watchdog that investigates and exposes waste, corruption, abuse of power, and when the government fails to serve the public or silences those who report wrongdoing. Last year, Vox Media reported the story of Danielle Parker. Danielle is the CEO of a small cleaning business called Detroit Made, which was thriving in February 2020. She had a staff of cleaners and a base of regular customers. Then COVID-19 hit, and the economy seemed to be in free fall. Danielle's business saw a massive drop off in bookings, and her financial situation started looking very dire. Congress quickly passed the $2.2 trillion Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or the CARES Act. Included in that legislation was more than $600 billion in the Paycheck Protection Program, designed to give forgivable loans to small and mid sized businesses like Danielle's to help them stay afloat and keep paying their staff. However, the loan program was fatally flawed. Substantial portions of the fund were diverted to corporations with armies of lobbyists, and it was plagued with fraud. Many small businesses, especially ones owned by people of color like Danielle, were not as easily able to access the banking network the system relied on. Detroit Made applied for a Paycheck Protection Program loan, but was eventually denied without any explanation. Danielle had to lay off half of her staff, and many other business owners stopped trying to access those loans altogether. COVID-19 has highlighted the way that oversight and accountability mechanisms can fail in times of crisis, exacerbate inequality, and incentivize fraud and corruption. Ultimately, the CARES Act provided a windfall for the wealthy, while largely failing to help struggling small businesses like Detroit Made. In fall 2020, POGO released an independent COVID-19 relief spending tracker to help the public follow the CARES Act money. Our website consolidates spending data from different government sources with a mapping feature and an industry by industry breakdown of $1.6 trillion in COVID 19 spending. It overlays spending data with minority population percentage and unemployment data to put the information into context and provide a clearer picture of where the money flowed and how it missed marginalized communities. Unfortunately, the data indicates that more than half of the $600 billion aimed at small and mid sized companies went to big businesses worth millions, like McDonald's, Southerly Hotels, which is worth $43 million, and One Group Hospitality, that's worth $50 million. More than a quarter of the money went to a mere 1% of loan recipients, while American workers struggled to put food on the table. POGO's investigations team has already produced more than 12 investigations that highlight corruption, waste, and fraud in CARES Act spending. In one, we revealed how a wealthy Ukrainian oligarch received over $21 million in forgivable loans for his US based coal mining company, which already owed $13 million in fines for health and safety violations. His loan far exceeded the fines he's been issued, and he likely will not have to pay it back. We will continue to uncover stories like these that can motivate the public to push back against unfair and inequitable government policies and ensure that government officials are held accountable for the COVID-19 response. We already saw this happen in April 2020, when news of businesses like Shake Shack and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse receiving loans stirred such outrage that those businesses actually returned the money. POGO's policy team will use the data and information from our investigations to push Congress and government agencies for stronger oversight of federal spending, especially in response to national crises. Our recommendations can ensure that future spending reaches the communities who need it most and provides guardrails against corruption, fraud, and abuse. POGO has a long track record of success working with lawmakers to pass important reforms that strengthen our democracy, including the Whistleblower Protection Enhancement Act of 2012 and the Presidential Transition Enhancement Act of 2019. POGO has already met with the new Biden administration and Congress on our tracker and our methodology as the government stands poised to pass a new round of stimulus. In the future, our tracker investigations and oversight recommendations can be replicated for government spending of any size, whether that be in response to growing climate disasters or another recession. Our work will help pave the way for economic stimulus that goes hand in hand with accountability and oversight systems that will ensure a more effective and equitable crisis response. Danielle Parker's story does have a happy ending. Local community grants and a pivot to commercial cleaning allowed her business to survive. But relying on that kind of funding is no substitute for systemic reforms that will ensure every business, community, and family can survive. I thank the judges of the World Justice Challenge 2021 for allowing POGO the opportunity to present our project.